Time to start another video. PLO6 Hi Low. Played on the BlueStacks app. Game is 10-20 blinds with 4 ante. Playing heads up. About 50 big blinds deep is the effective stack. The guy that I'm playing against, played against him a couple times before. He is nothing special. He definitely overvalues some hands. Gets overly aggressive sometimes. He may be a more skilled 4-card player, Omaha 5-card player, who doesn't understand in 6-card the adjustments you got to make and how important it is to be nutted. So I feel like this could be a very profitable session. Excited about this one. Definitely some money to be made. This guy's already topped up once. Hopefully he's got some more money in his account. Just making this video because I find it helps me to focus on my play, doing it as much for my own benefit as for anyone else's. So I'll just be talking through my thinking for each hand. Might get into some general strategy, stuff that's specific just to PLO6 high-low. Of course, I say this every video, but my strategy in this game is very exploitative, not trying to play anything game theory optimal, not really even that worried about being balanced, except for maybe in a few situations. Just trusting that this guy is going to get it in when he's well behind on some turns and rivers. So more than willing to give up some equity pre-flop and sometimes even on the flop, waiting for those good turns and looking to get it in when we are dominating. I like playing this guy. He's playing fast. A lot of people don't play this fast. So we'll get some more hands in. Hopefully it makes for an interesting video. Aw, that's too bad. Double suited aces, ace deuce 3. That would have liked to have seen a flop with that one. Yep, this isn't a very good hand, but he repots it, so I think I should fold that one. That's kind of the bottom of my raising range, so maybe not the absolute bottom, but he's also folding a fair amount pre-flop, so maybe since I won a big pot off of him already, maybe he's decided he's only going to play ace deuces and ace threes or something like that. Well, he checked really fast, and I've got almost no equity in this hand, so let's see. Just make a little bluff. If I'd been called, I think I'd give up right away, but I don't consider just no equity, pure stealing bluffs to be a big part of my strategy against a guy like this. But if they make it really obvious on boards where it's really hard for them to continue, might as well pick up a few pots here and there. drinking my rooibos tea. My buddy Ken got me turned on to the rooibos tea. Now I'm a big fan. It's supposed to be good for you. I just like to have a non-caffeinated tea to drink in the evenings when I'm playing. This is actually early morning that I'm playing, but I like these times because I like to play heads up as much as I can, get in as many hands as I can. So this hand would be a good hand to 3-bet with. Got the aces, ace deuce, but without ace deuce 3 or ace deuce 4 and without suited aces, I don't love it as much. So maybe it's only a good hand to 3-bet, at first glance, and in reality it's not that great. Just because if he's got ace deuce 3 or ace deuce 4, it really hurts to be dominated. Okay, well this is a good card to turn my hand into a bluff. Obviously I'm betting because I've got the ace of spades using the old ace trick. Also, when he raised pre-flop, he's raising probably more low hands, more of those ace deuce 3s, ace deuce 4s, ace 3 4 5s, raising probably more of those hands than he is high hands. So that king queen jack board might be really scary to him. Knowing that he can't have spades, or he can't have the ace of spades. He might have a hand that's just filled with low cards looking at that king queen jack board. So another good turn card to bluff on. Wow, every time I try to complete or make a little min raise, he's repotting. And he is picking off that bottom of my range pretty well. I think just coincidentally, but keep an eye on that. Well, I feel really cold decked so far with the 6-6-6 in my hand there. But I don't mind folding a bunch of these $10, $20 hands because in 6-card Omaha High-Low, we're going to get a lot of $600,000, $2,000 pots. I think way more often than you would in Hold'em and some other games. So I'm not too worried about how much I'm losing if I'm over folding pre-flop. And of course in Hold'em pre-flop, you might be playing 70, 80, 85% of your range or your hands. I don't think you need to do that in Omaha High-Low. I'm sure there is a mathematical way to justify playing that many hands, but not many people are playing GTO 6-card Omaha High-Low. There aren't solvers for it that I'm aware of, so on one hand you don't have to worry as much about being exploited. That's one reason why I'm not too worried about overfolding. And the other thing is 6-card Omaha High-Low, it's not really like a flop game or a pre-flop game. It's all about how strong, what your draws are and how strong your hand can be on the river. So if you play hands that don't make the nuts very often, you're going to be in a lot of really tough spots. you know, on turns and rivers when there's big bets going in. So obviously now there's a second player who sat down. That's a 25-50 with a 30 ante game. So now I'm playing two tables at once, two different opponents. Hopefully it's not too confusing for the viewer as I go back and forth. It's very easy for me to keep them straight in my mind, but maybe it's not as easy if you're not the one clicking the mouse and choosing what screen you're looking at. Unfortunately, the way BlueStacks is set up, there is no way for me to show both tables at once. So I'm going to be clicking back and forth as long as these guys want to play me. Oh, this is a great flop. Classic here. Flop the nuts with the best redraw, that is top set. Ah, and he folded. So couldn't slow play that hand because there's no cards that can turn me except for 10 if that gives him quads, but not really worried about that. But really wanted to just, you know, get some money in as a free roll. You know, in 6 card, I think there's a decent chance that he's also got ace jack. And if he's got a set of queens or something, he might just call anyway. So I think betting that flop is the right thing to do and just try to build up a little pot, hopefully get, you know, a lot of money in on the turn, free rolling. Well, here I've got the nut high and the second nut low. I had to take a second and reevaluate as that guy shoved in on me. I wish I'd been talking more about that hand, but really that was just a case of a guy just totally spewing. Oh, he thought I slow rolled him. Maybe I did slow roll him a little bit. But I was distracted by the other table, and I really wanted to take a second and reevaluate what was happening there. So I'm going to be friendly and apologize to him. Oh, and he quit anyway. But so we'll be back to one table action, but let's go back and just look at that hand again, see what happened there. So I flopped the nut high, he flopped a queen high flush, and I flopped ace 4, which isn't the best low you can have, but once the 2 comes, it's the second best low. And he checked me and I bet the flop and he called, and then on the turn he just put in the last of his stack, was about 2/3 of the pot. So we could say that it's a cooler, but he called a raise pre-flop with a pretty janky hand there. King, queen, jack, 9, 8, 3. Well, that 3 is a dangler if I ever saw one. And I always say 8s and 9s are the worst worst cards you can have in Omaha high-low. So his low on the turn is an 8-3, but that's really what he's got to watch out for on that flop. When there's two low cards on the flop, you got to know that 70% of the time you're going to see a low by the river. And besides, I could have a better flush. Even if I just have a set, you know, if I make a low and I've got a set, I'm free rolling on him. So he played a hand that I would not play pre-flop, and it really backfired on him. So keep that in mind when you're playing 6-card Omaha high-low. I mean, once he sees that flop, I understand why he called on the flop. When he sees that low card on the turn, I definitely think, I mean, his stack was really small, but I don't know why he would jam in there. I think the best thing for him is to fold that before the flop, but I'm not complaining. It's too bad he felt I slow rolled him, because I would have liked to have continued to play against him. I'm going to set up a new table and see if he comes back on another table. Every time I complete, this guy's repotting me. So back to our original opponent, who's slowly chipped away at me and won about 200. Just chipping away. Yeah, this is not a very good hand. Unsuited aces, ace-4 for the low. I think it's worth seeing a flop because, you know, we can make a set. But it's really not a very enviable hand. And I'm actually betting the pot here because I just want the fold. I don't want to see any low cards come. I don't want better straights. Of course, if he had the same straight as me and better low draw, he'd be free rolling. So I think if I got repotted there, I'm folding. But I think on that board, if he had the nut low draw, he would have bet the flop. So that's nice. It's nice every time you have ace-4 that the flop comes 2-3. So my crummy low has now become the nut low draw, and with ace-4-5, I can make a good wheel. Right now my hand is absolutely nothing except for draws, but I think my draw is good enough that I can just keep betting here. My opponent's calling. He might have ace-4. He might have hearts. I don't think he'd have a set because I think I would have heard from him. So we're going to continue this bluff and hope that he's just going to fold some ace-4 or some hearts that he was chasing with. Oh, he repots. Check raise. I don't see that too much in this club. So I'm obviously folding because I don't have anything to show at all. And I have a 9, so I don't put him on a set of 9s. But he could have a set of 9s, or he could have 9-3, or oh, and he's content to quit. That's all he needed. I went from being a small winner to being a small loser. Well, I won 1,000 on the other table, so I guess another short video. Happens a lot when you play heads up against amateur opponents. See a lot of short sessions, a lot of hit and runs, or guys who lose one buy-in and immediately quit, guys who get stuck and get even and then quit. But it doesn't bother me as long as they come back and we play again. Doesn't matter to me if we play our 500 hands all at once or spread out over the course of a week. In the end, I think as long as we get the hands in, my advantage will show. So thanks for watching another video. Hope it was interesting.